vague pain, backache, or sometimes due to the hyperestonism, they cause the menstrual disturbances like the polymenorrhea, polymenorrhagia, or the sometimes amenorrhea, followed by the heavy or prolonged bleeding, which may mimic the abortion symptoms like abortion, early pregnancy, or ectopic pregnancy. These tumors are tend to be self-curative, and they are usually diagnosed incidentally during the bimanual examination or during ultrasonography, usually if there remains asymptomatic. So we should not treat all the tumors of functional cyst, like, because if we treat them or if we remove them, the remaining ovarian tissue may be cystic and enlarged again. As they are self-curative, when the cause is removed, they will be removed spontaneously. The corpus luteum cyst. Corpus luteum cyst of the menstruation and corpus luteum cyst of the pregnancy. Corpus luteum cyst of menstruation, usually if the intracystic hemorrhage or bleeding occurs, and if it is the size is more than 3 centimeter, then we will call it the corpus luteum cyst. This will cause the overactivity of the corpus luteum and production of the hormones. So they also produce the menstrual disturbances, and they also can be simulate with the condition of the pregnancy or tubal ectopic pregnancy or abortion. Corpus luteum of pregnancy usually much more causes the much more larger cyst, and they usually remain up to third month, and they will degenerate after when the placenta will take over the function. Then the corpus it is also does not need the treatment, as it will resolve spontaneously. But if we treat there is rupture or hemorrhage, then we have to treat the patient surgically after resuscitative measure. Then the theca lutein cyst. We all know that the theca lutein cysts are usually bilateral, and usually it is seen when the excessive action of the beta HCG by human chorionic gonadotropin, seen in the gestational trophoblastic tumor, also in the choriocarcinoma, and it is also seen in the multiple pregnancy and also in the ovulation induction by the clomiphene citrate and gonadotrophins. And when the cause is removed and the therapy is given, it will spontaneous regression of the cyst. Then the luteoma of the pregnancy. It is not the corpus luteum of the pregnancy, it is the hyperplasia of the hyperplastic condition of the luteoma, luteal tissue, and there is yellowish coloration of these tissues, and they are usually disappear when the pregnancy is over. And if it is seen during cesarean section, they should be ruptured, or they should be punctured. So we have told that they usually does not produce the symptoms, all the follicular cyst, but sometimes they produce symptoms.
বললে ভালো হতো।
টাইমে কভার করতে পারবা?
একটু স্লো।
টাইমে তো কভার করতে পারবা না বাবা। আচ্ছা, they usually does not produce symptoms, but sometimes they can produce symptoms such as the low backache, অথবা vague pain in the lower abdomen, and sometimes they also can produce the infertility also. So if symptomless, we should not produce any type of treatment, or we should not give any treatment. But if they produce any symptoms, then we have to treat them, like if they rupture, or if any cystic hemorrhage in the peritoneum, that is the hemoperitoneum, then the resuscitative measures and treat the cyst. And sometimes we have to wait. Sometimes we have to wait for 3 to 6 months following after follow-up. Follow-up should be done with this cyst without any treatment if they are unilocular, unilateral, less than all the overall all the follicular cysts should be treated if they desire this type of, if they seems this type of symptom, this type of characteristics. We have to wait with follow-up if they are unilateral, unilocular, less than 8 centimeter, and having without any solid area, and the CA125 level is normal, and there is no ascites, and the follow-up should be done by ultrasonogram, and re-examination should be done at 3 to 6 months. Then we have to come that we are discussed about the follicular cyst, that is the cystic ovary. Now the ovarian neoplasm. Among these, today is the benign ovarian neoplasm. The ovarian neoplasm is one of the most complex area of the gynecology, because there various tissues is there, and the various type of the tumor can be originated. Benign ovarian tumor usually predominantly occurs in the premenopausal woman, but it may also occur in the perinatal period. If it occurs in the premenarchal or postmenopausal period, then there is a suspicion of the ovarian malignancy. The tumor benign that ovarian tumor incidence is about the 1 to 3%, and among them 75% are the classification. Classification is of the WHO classification. Among this classification, it has been seen that 70 to 80% of the tumor are of epithelial origin, 10% are of sex-cord stromal origin, and 5% is of the germ cell tumor. Others constitute the other variety of the tumor. Among the epithelial tumor, we know that there is surface epithelium, that the coelomic epithelium produces this tumor, and they are the serous tumor, mucinous cystadenoma, endometrioid tumor, mesonephroid or the clear cell tumor, Brainerd tumor, mixed epithelial tumor, undifferentiated tumor, and the unclassified tumor. And among the sex-cord stromal tumor, these are the granulosa cell tumor and the thecoma fibroma group, androblastoma, gynandroblastoma, and unclassified. And other third group of the ovarian tumor is the lipid cell tumor. Then fourth group is the germ cell tumor, which is about the 5%. And among the germ cell tumor are the dysgerminoma, endodermal sinus tumor, embryonal cell carcinoma, polyembryoma, choriocarcinoma, teratoma, which includes the immature and the mature one, and that is the dermoid cyst. And others are the monodermal tumor, which contains the specialized type of the tumor, thyroid tissue, then it is called the stroma ovary. And another one is the carcinoid syndrome. Then it can also be the mixed tumor, combination of all these types. Another group of the tumor is the composed of the germ cell tumor and the sex-cord stromal tumor. And another group called the gonadoblastoma. Another one is the unclassified tumor, and the last one is the secondary metastasis. These are the classification of the ovarian tumor. Among these, we know that the benign ovarian tumor are mucinous cystadenoma, serous cystadenoma, Brainerd tumor, and the dermoid cyst. Mucinous and the serous tumor and the Brainerd tumor are among the epithelial tumor. Dermoid cyst is the germ cell tumor, and the stromal tumor, that is the thecoma fibroma group, it also benign, but it is rare.
ম্যাম আসসালামু আলাইকুম ম্যাম, একজন ওয়েট করছে ম্যাম জয়েন দিতে।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা। Then first one is the mucinous cystadenoma among the ovarian benign neoplasm. It may cause a large tumor, and sometimes it is a large ovarian tumor, and sometimes it may form, if uncared, it may form the largest tumor in the body also. And so it may be the enormous size, and it usually naked eye, it is usually seen as a smooth and sometimes white, grayish white, or blue with a bluish hue. And it is smooth, sometimes maybe multiloculated tumor. So it has, because it has the septum, sometimes the wall is multiloculated, and on cut section, the cells are the tall columnar cell with a dark nucleus which resembles that of the endocervix. And so it has the secretory power, and on cut section inside we see the material which is mucinous material. The mucinous material is the thick, glary material, and so if it causes the rupture of if it is ruptured, then the mucinous material spill throughout the whole of the abdomen, and it is adherent to the other organ or the other viscera, and sometimes it is the very dangerous condition producing the pseudomyxoma peritonei. They are common. These tumors are common. The mucinous cyst adenoma are common about the 30 to 50 years of age, and that their chance is about the 5 to 10% having the bilateral, and 5 to 5% about the malignant potentiality. Then we have to come about the serous cyst adenoma. Serous cyst adenoma is smaller than the mucinous cyst adenoma. It is seen about the 20 to 40% of all the ovarian tumors, and 40% having the capacity of bilaterality, and 14% having the potentiality of malignancy. And they are usually seen about the 30 to 40 years of age of women, and these are usually thin-walled, grayish, translucent, অথবা whitish হতে পারে. They are usually unilocular, but sometimes they may be multilocular. Or cut section, they having the cubical cell, and which sometimes forming the samoma bodies. These are the laminated spherical cell, the calcified organs, calcified tissues found within the serous cyst adenoma. And these cells, these tumors, usually unilocular, but the cells within it produces papillary projection. When there is numerous papillary projection, these cystic tumors sometimes felt as solid tumor due to the excessive papillary projection, and sometimes the papillary projections pierces the tumor, and there is exuberant growth of the papillary projection on the surface of the tumor.
Ma'am, একজন ওয়েট করছে যে জয়েন দেওয়ার জন্য। থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম।
ওয়েলকাম। Okay. Then the serous tumor, then the mucinous tumor. Next one is which is very common, that is the dermoid tumor, dermoid cyst. Dermoid cyst is a teratoma, benign cystic teratoma. And this tumor is found in the younger age, and it is about the moderate size. And the dermoid cyst, sometimes we see it through the anterior fornix, and it is then suspected that it is a dermoid tumor. It is it has the differentiated tissue that contains all three germ layers of the body, and predominantly the ectodermal tissue, such as the hair, teeth, sebaceous gland, then the neuroectodermal tissue, choroid plexus, CSF, etc. And in about the 20% of the cases, the tumors become bilateral. Then another one is the Brainerd tumor. Brainerd tumor is very rare, 1 to 2% of the ovarian tumor, and they may be borderline, and also these are seen in the more than 40 years of age, and size is small, less than 2 centimeter. Over the 95% of the cases, it is benign, and there may be more 90% of the cases, this is unilateral, sorry. And ovarian Brainerd tumor may be associated with the mucinous cyst adenoma and the cystic teratoma. Another benign tumor, which is solid in nature, is the sex cord stromal tumor, that is the fibroma thecoma group. The fibroma, small, it is solid, and they are usually associated with the mixed syndrome. Mixed syndrome is the combination of the fibroma, the pleural right-sided hydrothorax, and the ascites. Now, the tumors, the benign tumors usually seen, these are the benign tumors. So, there are some risk factors for the benign ovarian tumor. These are the obesity, then the early menarche, then infertility, hypothyroidism, and the tamoxifen therapy. How they can present these tumors, how they can present? They usually, these are the premenopausal period, and there no parity, there is no relation with the parity, and they may be maximally, they may be asymptomatic, but they sometimes produce with the symptoms such as, and when they are asymptomatic, then they should be diagnosed incidentally during the bimanual pelvic examination or the during ultrasonography, and from these apart, they may be produce some symptoms such as they may produce some feeling of heaviness in the lower abdomen, feeling of slow growing lump in the lower abdomen. Sometimes there is vague pain in the lower abdomen or low backache, and sometimes they may present with a large tumor, such as in the mucinous cyst adenoma, with the pressure symptom. Pressure symptom like on the bladder, they may produce the frequency of the bladder irritation, so that there is frequency of the urination. They may also produce the on the venous compression, so they may produce the varicose vein or leg edema. Also, they may present with the cardiorespiratory embarrassment or the gastrointestinal symptom like nausea, indigestion, etc. They may also present with menstrual disturbances, as there is producing hormone producing tumor. They may produce with the menorrhagia, polymenorrhagia, and if there is chance of torsion also in case of the benign ovarian tumor. So they will produce severe pain, fever, or sometimes with shock in that case. In case of rupture, if it is complicated with the rupture, there is also they can also produce the hemoperitoneum, which is an acute condition and present with the shock and the pain in the lower abdomen. So these are the symptoms, and sometimes if it is the fibroma is there, so there is ascites also. Now the signs. Signs, usually on general examination, the patient is asymptomatic, and there is no signs is there, they may remain unaffected. But if there is huge tumor like mucinous cyst adenoma, there is protein loss and there are pitting edema of there, and the patient may be cachectic. And then the abdominal examination. Abdominal examination, on inspection, there may be a bulging in the lower abdomen, but the overlying abdominal wall is freely moving over the mass with the respiration, and the mass is placed centrally. Abdominal cavity, if it is large, abdominal cavity is enlargement with the everting of the umbilicus, and the visible vein may be there under the skin, and the flanks remain flat as there is no ascites. But there may be, if there is ascites in case of the fibroma, the flank may be full. Then the palpation. Palpation, feeling is cystic or tensely cystic if there is huge collection in the cyst. It is margin is smooth and it has a defined border, and but the lower pole is not raised, as it has the pelvic origin. It is freely mobile from side to side, but not from above downwards unless it has a long pedicle, as it is in pelvic origin. So it is the movement is restricted from above downwards, but if it has a long pedicle, then we can move the mass from the all side, and the surface is smooth. As the surface is smooth, and as it is benign, it has no fixity to the surface or the underlying structure, and during palpation there it is non-tender. On percussion, it is centrally, it is dull and resonant in the flank, but a fluid thrill also may be present if the skin are thin and content is watery. If it is associated with mixed syndrome, that is the hydrothorax and the ascites, then the dull percussion on the flank also. Then we have to do a pelvic examination or bimanual examination. In bimanual examination, it has been seen that the uterus is separated from the mass as it is originated from the ovary. And there is a groove between the uterus and the ovary. And if we move the mass per abdominally, there is no movement of the cervix. And if we keep the mass above in the abdomen, if we elevate the mass in the abdomen, then the cervix remains stationary. We can fail the per abdomen. Cervix is normal, as in it does not affect the cervix. And if we fail through the fornix, we can fail the lump through the fornix, and there is no pulsation of the uterine vessels. And the cyst, if it is, we have told before, if it is failed through the anterior fornix, it is most likely the dermoid ovarian tumor. So the presentation and the clinical examination. Now, if we see a lump in the lower abdomen, we should keep mind about some differential diagnosis. First of all, we have to exclude the full bladder and pregnancy. So the patient should be examined in empty bladder. First of all, we have to exclude the bladder should be emptied and the exclusion of the pregnancy. Then the other differential diagnoses are, we have discussed before, the follicular cyst of the ovary, and then the polycystic ovarian syndrome, then the endometrioma, then the ovarian malignant tumor. Also, we have to discuss in these topics another options such as the uterus fibroid, the fibroid in the uterus, then also the ectopic pregnancy, then also the tumor of the other organ like the colonic tumor or the small intestinal tumor, or the possibility of an appendicular mass, or it may be also the encysted peritonitis as seen in the tuberculosis. There is a possibility of the pelvic inflammatory disease also in the differential diagnosis, as the ovarian tumor sometimes produce pain. Then, after the differential diagnosis, we have to confirm the tumor. We have to manage the tumor. So there should be some investigations. The investigations to confirm the tumor and the nature of the tumor, that it is benign, and some investigations are done for the management purpose. The investigations which are done to confirm the tumor and the nature of the tumor are, first of all, the ultrasonography. There are some characteristics in the ultrasonography that usually the tumors of the benign nature are usually seen in the unilateral, and they have no solid areas within the tumor. There is usually less papillary projections, if it, usually less than 4 in number, and it is usually the echogenic area or echo-free area, sometimes echogenic or sometimes echogenic area, echo-free area, and there is no ascites in the findings, and which are differ in case of the malignant ovarian tumor. So, and we can also confirm the tumor by the CT scan also. And we have to do some tumor marker like CA125, CA199, CA153, CEA in case of the epithelial ovarian tumor. In case of the hormone producing tumor, we can also use the estrogen and the androgen. And in case of the germ cell tumor, the tumor markers are the alpha fetoprotein, beta HCG, and also the LDH. And sometimes there is dilemma and it is confused and diagnosis cannot be reached. Then we can use the procedure like X-ray of the abdomen over the tumor and laparoscopy or the laparotomy. Finally, it can be diagnosed in these measures, and also cytology can be used. But these are the rare ancillary aids. Then we have to manage the tumor. When it is diagnosed, and that we have to diagnose the ovarian tumor and it is benign, it has to be removed, because the tumor may complicate at any time, and it may seems to be benign, but after the ovarian tumor has been removed, it has been seen that it is a malignant one. So once it is diagnosed, it has to be removed. It has, because it may, so it has been told that it is produced several complications, and its nature cannot be assessed finally or clinically. So we have to remove the tumor. Surgical therapy for the benign tumor is generally very effective. It is very effective and provides a cure with minimal effect on the reproductive capacity. So we have to remove the tumor. And during removal, so the treatment option is the surgery. And during removal, we have to follow some rules. We have to give a vertical incision and vertical paramedial incision for a wide range of view to the tumor, and so the tumor is to be removed intact. Then we have to observe the nature of the peritoneal fluid, the color of the fluid and the nature of the fluid, and we have to collect the fluid. Then we have to deliver the tumor intact out of the abdomen. We do not do any tapping or any cystic aspiration. Then we have to remove the tumor. Then after that, we have remove the tumor, that is the definitive surgery. Then after the tumor has been removed, we have to cut the tumor and to observe the tumor inside the tumor. We have to be observe the nature of the tumor. Any malignancy is there, the possibility or suspicion of the malignancy. Then the tumor is to be sent for histopathology. If there is any suspicion, we can also use the frozen section biopsy. And the mode of treatment in case of the younger one is the cystectomy. And we can also do salpingio-oophorectomy or the ovariotomy. And in case of who desires fertility, young age and who desires fertility, and more than 40 years of the age, and who does not desire any fertility, the treatment option is the bilateral salpingio TAH with the BSO, that is the total abdominal hysterectomy, and the bilateral salpingio-oophorectomy. In between these two ages, we have to consider several things. That is the nature of the tumor, the desires of fertility, age of the patient, and type of the tumor, and the menstrual and the reproductive possibility. These things to be considered, and then the individualization of the case to be done. There is a role of laparoscopic surgery in case of ovarian tumor also, due to its some advantages, because the cure is patient cured earlier, there is less hospital stay, less complication, and fewer adhesion. So sometimes the laparoscopic surgery also may be done. The ovarian tumor sometimes produces some complications, like it may cause the hemorrhage inside the tumor and the intercystic hemorrhage. And sometimes the cyst may be ruptured. Sometimes it may produce the torsion or the which is called the twisted ovarian tumor. And sometimes it may cause the infection, and there is chance of pseudomyxoma peritonei or malignancy. Now we have to discuss something about the complication among these. Are the common is the twisted ovarian tumor, twisted or torsion. Sometimes it may produce the torsion, axial rotation of its pedunculated tumor may be axial rotated, and usually it is centrally rotated. Usually it is centrally towards midline, and usually it is found in case of the moderate size of the tumor with the moderate weight, who has a long pedicle and who is freely mobile. And the tumor may produce some symptoms when it is rotated axially, then it may produce some ischemia. So it may produce some pain in the lower abdomen, some fever in the lower, some fever may cause also the, we can say the C fever. And there are some precipitating factor for this tumor, predisposing factor. Predisposing factor is the voluntary, any voluntary movement, any violent movement, or any fall in the blunt surface, or any blow in the abdomen, or it may also cause due to the complication also during the pregnancy due to its contraction or intestinal peristalsis. These may initiate the axial rotation, and then this predisposing factor ultimately produce the slight axial rotation with vascular occlusion. So the intermittent arterial forcible pulsation ultimately causes the full axial rotation of the tumor. And then there may be gangrenous and the ischemia and the gangrene, and the fate is also that maybe untwisting of the tumor if it is slight, and if it is more, then the gangrenous tumor, and ultimately it will cause the rupture, or it may be infected by the organism of the surrounding organ, that is the uterine tube or the intestine. And if it is ruptured, then it causes the acute symptom, and sometimes the peduncle is detached and it will get to the from the nourishment from the other organ of the abdomen, and then it is called the parasitic tumor. So it may produce an acute condition. So we have to treat the tumor. In that case, we have to open the abdomen. Then after resuscitative measures, then cystectomy is done, and oophopraxy, that is the suspension of the ovary, is done, and sometimes ovariotomy if there is more tissue damage, and so then the ovary cannot be saved, and so salpingo-oophorectomy is done. Then the complication is there, and the prognosis of the benign ovarian tumor depends upon various things. The various things like the size of the tumor, the type of the tumor, its nature of the tumor, patient's age, whether it may produce any complication. Ovarian torsion, if it is detected within 6 hours of the onset of the symptoms, then the tissue will remain viable and the conservative surgery can be done. And most of the tumor in the premenopausal women should be treated conservatively, but prognosis of the tumor further depends upon the histopathological report. And if it is functional tumor, functional cyst, that it can be follow up by the 3 to 6 months of age, 6 months of duration, with the ultrasonography and the clinical examination and the CA-125 measurement, and it can be inhibited also by the oral contraceptive therapy. But it is not suggested as a treatment, but we can see it by the prognosis of the functional cyst, and if it does not resolve by 3 to 6 months, then we have to suspect about the neoplastic condition of the tumor, neoplastic condition of the cyst. So this is about all about the benign ovarian tumor. We have discussed about the type of the benign ovarian tumor, and also with this we have to we discussed about the some functional tumor of the ovary, its nature, and that how can we treat them, and benign ovarian tumors and how they present, how can we follow up them, and how can we diagnose them, and how can we treat them, and the prognosis of the benign ovarian tumor. And another thing we should know in this situation is the difference between the benign ovarian tumor and the malignancy of the tumor. We can discuss it from the clinical perspective, investigation, and the findings in the ultrasonography, which is also a marker of the ovarian tumor. So in clinically we have seen the nature of the tumor in benign, that it is usually unilocular, it is usually unilateral, it is usually free. Parabdominal examination, it is usually free, no tenderness, the borders are usually well defined, which is all are opposited in the malignancy of Onassis. It does not produce in the ascites. And in case of the investigation, we can see that the marker, we told the marker which is elevated in case of the malignant ovarian tumor. And in case of the ultrasonogram findings, we have stated. So it is important, and it will be discussed later in the also in the malignant ovarian tumor. So do you have any questions? Anybody? Okay, Jannatul.
ম্যাম ইয়াং এজে ট্রিটমেন্ট অপশনটা যদি একটু আরেকবার বলতেন তাহলে ভালো হতো।
Benign ovarian tumor.
জি ম্যাম।
Benign ovarian tumor. First of all, the functional cyst. Functional cyst should be follow up, and if it does not produce any complication, and if it is a benign tumor, obviously it is diagnosed as a benign ovarian tumor. In case of young woman who desires fertility, then we have to do the cystectomy and ovariotomy. When it is not possible, ovariotomy, that is the salpingo-oophorectomy. And if it is found in the bilaterally, it is unilateral. If it is found bilaterally, then we have to save one ovary. So if we do the salpingo-oophorectomy in one side, we have to do the cystectomy in the another one. We have to keep some ovarian tissue. And if it is we cannot save both the ovary, then we have to keep the uterus for the ART in case of the young woman. And do you have understand, Jannat? Anything more?
ম্যাম ফাংশনাল সিস্টের ট্রিটমেন্টে কন্ট্রাসেপশনের ব্যাপারটা একটু বলতে হবে।
It is said that there is a role of oral contraceptive pill because it suppresses the ovulation and it suppresses the ovarian activity, so the cyst will be removed, but it does not used as a treatment. It is not recommended by the FIGO that it should not be used as a treatment. We can use it and 3 cycle to see that whether the tumor has been decreased in size or the cyst has been decreased in size. If that cyst is decreased, then we can see that this is due to functional cyst. If it does not decrease, then we have a suspicion about the neoplastic condition of the ovary. But it is not recommended as a treatment. It has been shown that the COCP has decreased the ovarian activity and the cyst has been removed. Okay?
জি ম্যাম, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
Okay, then this is the ovarian tumor, and more important is the sometimes it has been said that the তোমাদের twisted ovarian tumor থেকে অনেক সময়তেই কিন্তু কোশ্চেন আসে, যেটা তোমাদের অস্পিতে থাকতে পারে অথবা তোমাদের ছবি দিয়েও দেয় অথবা তোমাদেরকে কোশ্চেন হিসেবেও দেয়। আর ওভারিয়ান টিউমার ক্লাসিফিকেশনটা এখানে জাস্ট যেহেতু তোমার একটা শুরু, সেজন্য ওভারিয়ান টিউমারের ক্লাসিফিকেশন এই টপিক্সের মতো ভাবে ছিল না। আর একটা যেটা যে বেনাইন ওভারিয়ান টিউমারের ভেতরে মিউসিনাস সিস্ট আর সেরাস টিউমার, এই দুইটার ছবিও কিন্তু অনেক সময়তে দিয়ে ডায়াগনোসিস করতে দেয় ওভারিয়ান টিউমার। ঠিক আছে? আর একটা তোমার যে ফাংশনাল সিস্টটা জাস্ট এটার করেসপন্ডেন্ট একটা অংশ, সেজন্য এটার সাথে এসেছে। এমনি বেনাইন ওভারিয়ান টিউমার হিসেবে ওই ছোট কতগুলা পার্টি আসবে। আর কিছু জানতে চাও কেউ? এনিথিং মোর? ওকে, দেন জান্নাত, সবাই ভালো থাকো।
আর ম্যাম পার্সেন্টেজটা আপনাকে তাহলে আমি মেইল করে দেব বা মেসেজ?
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, দিও। ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ অল।